Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Welcome to Michigan. I am filming my video for Wednesday. So today I'm hopping on to talk about cold weather strategies. We are 2 degrees this morning and it feels like temp of negative 12. I'm going to pop a little thing in here. But today I'm only going to do a little video out here just to show you what I've got set up for the animals. And then the rest of this video we'll talk about, we're going to talk about common sense, practical cold weather strategies. Hello, sweetie. Cold weather strategies for animals. And I am a pretty straightforward, common sense, no frills kind of girl. And I know everyone's not going to agree with this video, but this is just where I am. And we're all in different places. I believe animals are meant to be cared for, to be loved, and but also and fed and sheltered and all that stuff. But there is a common sense approach to it, and I think in today's day and age, sometimes things are over the top. So this is going to be a real, not basic, but I'll show you what I've done this week. We have an entire week of this weather. Go figure. Michigan, we had one small snowstorm in October, and that was it. We've been green ever since. And then this walloped us last weekend. And then the polar vortex came in after that. And here we are. So it's here to stay until this weekend when we get back into like 20. But I'm in the goats barn, and the goats are picking at me and jumping on me. Let me flip you. There they are, saying good morning. So I have, let me show you real quick. My omelet is in here, and the chickens, a couple of them did go in there last night. I have 5 out here. The other 3 stayed in here. They are all doing well, and staying warm. And looks like she's getting ready to lay me an egg back there. So that's where I have the outdoor chickens that are not in my regular coop. I'm keeping straw up throughout the day. I have this bucket over here, which I'm filling with water for them. I am out here every couple of hours, just so you know. And that bucket is easy enough. Some of these buckets you get, or the metal, yes, I know you're back there. The metal ones are really hard to dump ice out of. This is super easy. I know it doesn't look like a lot, but let me show you. So that's what I have for the goats. They have extra layer of straw. Straw is going to be your best friend to keep your animals warm. As long as your animals, good morning, Patty. Good morning. As long as they are dry, what are you doing? They're going to be fine. And when I get back inside and sit down, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Animals' body temperatures, what's on them, and things like that. But let me show you the practical stuff first. So I have a trail here for them. We have snow probably in some places like 2 feet deep. So it was a big whopper. Again, we did not have any snow last week at all. We're going to talk about my sled this week also for my Sunday video. But I do have 2 heated buckets for them. Even the heated buckets are having a hard time keeping up. But they are out here for them, along with the one that's inside my colony. This is my first year with colony, so this is my first winter with colony. And we're doing okay. Let me show you what I've done in here. And remember, Angora rabbits are 7 times warmer than sheep with their fiber. So I have my omelet hutch. I have straw laid down for a path to their water. That's also heated. Loki was in here. I took him out. I'm going to show you that in a minute. He is inside right now. He is 8. I have some really old rabbits. He is 8, and so I didn't want him out here. So he has been inside. I'll show you him here in a minute. But I have created, and I'm bringing more hay or more straw out here when we're done. They have their feed and hay here, or feed and straw here. And then I have created, and it's actually warm down here. I have 2 of my girls, Nutmeg and Min, are out here. They have straw, they have covering, they have shelter, and they are doing great. And again, I am checking on them. This does not stay unfrozen. I am refilling that every couple of hours for them. But they do have their heated one back here also. The other thing, they are in and out of their hutch, which is super well made. I love these things. I've talked about them before. The other thing in here is when they're in here, and I need to refill this. This one did freeze overnight. But when they're in here, they have straw, they have water, and they are nice and warm in there. So I will refill this bottle for tonight for them. So let me pause this, and I'm going to take you into the rabbit barn. Okay, guys. So this is my barn. I have had 0 frozen water issues in here. None. So that is huge. Most of my rabbits, this is Loki. He was out, outside, the one I just talked about. He is doing well. He's staying warm in here. I've got lots of straw down for them. I've got some shredded paper down for them. So these guys are all doing great. My chickens coop is on the other side of this building, so that's nice and warm over there. So in almost 20 years of doing this, I have never had a building, and this one is insulated well. It's let me see. I have a thermometer in here so I can keep track. So it is 35 in here this morning. Compared to outside is lovely in here. So these guys are doing great. We have, like I said, I have no frozen water bottle issues, and I haven't the last few days, and we've been this cold. So those are the outdoor things. I'm going to finish chores now, and then I will be back and we'll talk about a few other things. Stay tuned. Okay, guys, I am back inside and I am warming up. This will be the second half of the video that I wanted to just talk about just a couple more things. You kind of saw how I have everything set up for this really cold weather. And again, I already said this once, but I am a very practical, common sense kind of person. My rabbits do not live in my house. I know a lot of people have Angora rabbits, and a lot of people have them living in their house, which is fine. We have always had a lot of animals, but we've kind of stuck with the dogs and cats in the house, and everything else is outside. That's just the way we are. So everyone is going to do this differently, and it's going to look different for everybody. But I wanted to make sure to kind of show you, I try to show you guys the good, the bad, and the ugly around here. And I wanted to show you that it is possible to have really blistering cold weather, and still be able to have your animals outdoors and have them comfortable. And keep in mind, they are just animals. As much as I love my animals, now that we're empty nesters, our 2 dogs have kind of become like our kids, and love them to death, but they are animals. So I try to keep that perspective. And again, not everybody's going to think the same way, and that's okay. But this is just from my point of view and how I'm looking at things and what I'm doing for that. So you got to see kind of what I have set up out there. I thought we'd run through real quick just a couple more things in regards to mainly the goats and the rabbits, the chickens, and this, what I'm going to talk about kind of applies to all animals outside. We see horses outside without, shelter. They have shelter, but they're not in the shelter. That's because they're horses, and that's what animals do. They like to be outside. I know people have fits in regards to the livestock like the Great Pyrenees dogs that are outside, or the sled dogs that are outside. That is what they were created and bred to do. And we've all seen those videos where there's these big fluffy dogs rolling around in the snow and will not come inside because they love snow. Their bodies were created that way. They were built to be stay warm and be out in the weather without having any issues. So we also have to keep that in mind, I think, too. So generally our really cold weather snaps like this they're pretty short-lived. Like I said, it's going to be this week that we're going to have this really single-digit negative numbers. We typically don't have this, and most winters we may see one or two of these short snaps. We have had winters in the past where we've had several weeks of this weather, but for the most part it is short-lived. I think with all of my animals, with all of your animals, the biggest thing, there are two biggest things that that would hinder you from keeping them comfortable in the weather. One is shelter, and the other is not being wet. So all of my animals are in a shelter. You guys saw the rabbit barn today. It's insulated. They are all good in there. The goats, I actually have a shed for my goats. I could have gotten by with like a 3-sided building or a walk-in shed, I guess is what you'd call it. But we decided to go with the shed, and so they are completely enclosed except for one door that I keep open because my goats don't like to be shut in. We tried that when we first got them, to shut them in at night, so we knew they were absolutely, indoors and nothing could get to them, and they kind of threw fits. My one goat did not like being shut in, so now I keep one of the doors open for her. She loves sleeping in the doorway. She was actually in the doorway last night when I went to check on them, and it just doesn't bother her. So all of all of my animals have some kind of shelter, and they are all dry. That's the biggest factor, I think. I do, like I said, during these days, I go out every 2 hours or so. I go out and check on everybody. If I need to put more straw down, I will. I'll put some more in the rabbit hutch if need be. And I will just check on everybody. And then the outdoor, I showed you the goat bucket that I have inside. They have heated buckets outside, but they're not always wanting to go out and use those. Goats are real finicky about rain and things, at least mine are, rain or snow or anything like that. So they would rather stay inside. So I have that one bucket. I'm going to go refill it with warm water to make sure it's unfrozen for them. So I do that every 2 hours, and I'll also do that with the rabbits. Like I said this morning, the inside rabbits in the barn, I don't have to worry about them. For the most part, I'm not going to have any issues in there at all. They're going to stay warm. And unless, like with this barn here, you can put straw or extra hay inside the cages for your rabbits. I don't do that on most days. Tomorrow, I may end up, because tomorrow I think it's supposed to be even colder than today, I may end up putting blankets over top of my towers, just to kind of keep the heat in. But you have to remember, Angora rabbits they have wool. They have a wool coat that they grow. And it's like 7 times warmer, 6 to 7 times warmer than sheep wool. And so they're really not struggling. I don't overgroom my rabbits right now at this point in the year. I make sure to not overgroom them, if that makes sense. Even if it means I may be trimming some mats off them later in the next few weeks. I keep them as full of a coat as I can. And that helps also. My goats, so we shear here in like April and September, October. We sheared in October, very beginning of October, I think it was. And so if you're shearing, you want to be thinking about that too. if it's going to get cold in October, really cold, you want to make sure maybe you're shearing in September, just because it takes them about 6 weeks to acclimate and get some fiber back on them so that they do stay warm. And goats are constantly eating, and their body is focusing on the mohair production for my goats, for my Angora goats. And so I need to make sure that I am feeling their body composition also, because they will lose weight before before the quality of their fiber goes down. So you need to make sure, and with all that fiber on them, it's sometimes hard to tell with their weight how they're doing. And so that's something else you have to keep in mind. Let's see, what else did I write down? I was doing some research in regards to this whole topic, just out of curiosity to see, people talk about cows being out in the fields, and somebody I follow, a farmer, the other day mentioned, they're wearing leather hides. That's where we get our leather coats from. They're already wearing it. They're warm, and that's why they're constantly not in shelter. That's why you see these animals out wandering. It's not because they don't have shelter. It's because that's how they were created to be. But I did read for rabbits, and I talk about this a lot in the summertime, more so, that 75, 80 degree mark where that gets to be too much for them. As I was researching this, I read that they tolerate down to 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That seems really warm to me. I mean, 50 degrees here in Michigan, and a lot of us are wearing shorts and flip-flops, honestly. So I feel like there's a little bit more tolerance level there than 50 degrees. And again, as long as they have shelter, they're out of the wind, have a place to kind of tuck in, like you saw with my outdoor colony rabbits. They have a couple little places they can tuck in. They've got straw down. They're going to be okay. I don't think you have to go crazy above and beyond that, because those are the main things that you want to make sure. So I think I touched on all of the subjects and pieces of this that I wanted to touch on. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. I'd be glad to answer them for you. And again, this is my approach. This is how I go about doing it. I love my animals, but I am not bringing 22 Angora rabbits into my house this week. It's not feasible. It's just really not possible for me to do that. And as quick as this cold snap jumps in, we're going to be right back into the 40s next week. So that's kind of the running joke here in Michigan. Just breathe a little bit, and you never know what you're going to get in 5 minutes here, because it changes all the time. So common sense, keep them warm. Shelter is important. Straw is important, and make sure they're not wet, and they're going to do just fine outside. So I hope this helped. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, and I hope you get to create something today. Bye.